Welcome to ECN Trade Daily Video. Before we begin, it should be noted that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration.
Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you very much for joining me. Yesterday, a dovish set of RBA minutes had modestly added to an already firm expectation that the central bank will be cutting rates again later this year. After reducing the cash rate for the first time last week, the market is now pricing in a 50% chance of a rate cut in July and a 70% chance of a rate cut in August and a 97% chance of a cut by December. The Australian dollar remained on a back foot for most of yesterday after slipping to an intraday low of 68.31 after the minutes, that is. And from the technical point is the market did respond in a bullish way from that level of figure 40, but still holding as the bullish foundations. I do anticipate the market will move lower and possibly down towards 66 cents if we are keeping to the fundamental forecasts. The euro, well, a little bit of a tangle when it comes to the two presidents, that is President Trump and President Mario Draghi. Sparks were flying yesterday after Mario Draghi earlier opened the door to further monetary stimulus in Europe, which would likely weaken the common currency against the greenback. Trump has accused the ECB of unfairly manipulating the euro, further raising the stakes for Washington in its trade and diplomatic disputes around the world. Trump suggested in a tweet that the comments by Mario Draghi, the head of the ECB, had triggered an immediate slide in the value of the euro versus the US dollar, making it unfairly easier for them to compete against the US, reopening the spat over the transatlantic trade with the EU that has repeatedly flared up during Trump's presidency. He warned Brussels that they'd been getting away with it for many, many years, and that the fact is they probably may do something about this. Mario Draghi did fire back and saying that President Trump, after accusing him hours from his tweet, that unfairly targets the euro exchange rate by saying we don't target the exchange rate. Nevertheless, the euro has fallen lower and now looking towards 111.60 as a target, which could lower to 110.70.85 before profit taking. Later today, or more to the fact, Thursday, Sydney 4 a.m. is the US Fed rate decision. There's been a lot of concerns regarding this as Trump has continued to fire at the Fed in terms of raising rates and now wants them to actually lower them. But it's too soon, I feel, for them to cut, but could be looking on the cards in July. So I do expect to see no change policy at 4 a.m. this morning in Sydney. Dollar yen, well, for the 13th consecutive day, the market has traded sideways and still no direction and locked in within the parameters of 107.85 to 108.70. Little to go on, purely for the fact is that the RSI is still flirting with the midway point, but the MACD is bullish. But we need to break 108.70.95 to support a run to 109 highs. The pound briefly slipped under 125.20, posting a low of 125.05, but didn't stay in there too long. I feel the market's basing probably a support level here, but with the risks still with Brexit, could still see a fall beneath there and target the 124 lower region, with the resistance seen at 125.85 to 95. Gold took another stab to the upside, and as you can see, the market did print briefly a high of 1,354 before backing away again at 40. Nevertheless, I still feel the market is still trading, but there is divergence here, so keep an eye on this, because if the bearish case comes through, we could be looking back to 24. And who's to say that the Fed tonight could surprise us and be not as dovish? But anyway, Trump has still been looking to see if he can reduce the chairman just to the Fed to one of the governors who sit around the table. And there's, I believe, 7 to about 12 of them. But nevertheless, that hasn't taken place as of yet. And wrapping up with oil, the market rebounded 4% overnight and quite impressively taking on the challenge to the top side after reports coming through that the US is sending more additional troops to the Middle East as the tension builds up with Iran. More to that story later, but for now I am looking up towards a target of $55 a barrel, which is nearly there now after the market was firm in a base from $50. Well, that wraps up for today. Thank you very much for joining me. But as I mentioned, we do have the highly anticipated Federal Reserve rate decision at 4 a.m. Sydney. So do keep your eye out because this will be a cruncher to the markets. But for now, I hope you enjoy the great day and please look out for the intraday report that will be released shortly.